Jai Shri Krishna.
Yes.
We have had a long break of 3 months.
2 months.
And I hope you all had time to go over the last chapters, which we studied, last 5 chapters, and try to understand teachings of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. These 5 chapters constitute the first part of the scripture. We now are starting the second part, which consists of chapters 6 through 10. If you did not had chance to review that, what has been talked about so far, you are not alone. Because when it comes to matters of Atma and Paramatma, us humans tend to neglect the topic. Bhagavan says hardly one among 1,000 of men strive to realize me. Of those striving yogis, again, some rare one devoting exclusively to me knows me in reality. So, it's not easy. Not many people really take this path to understand what Paramatma is, what Atma is, because it's so far away from them, their thoughts. You cannot think about it. Other things that you see every day, you touch them, you look at them, you smell, you do whatever you do through your senses and mind, you can see it, you can identify with it. But Atma and Paramatma is just like, don't know what it is. And you cannot just sit there and think about it and understand it either. So, in Gita, Bhagavan Krishna has discussed this in detail, answering Arjun's question. And reality is, for Atma, Paramatma is the only refuge that there is. Nowhere else Atma can find peace. When you talk about refuge means where you go there and you relax and you have peace in your mind. That's what refuge means. In this world there is no peace. Never has been, never will be. So, why it is so? Bhagavan says that very few people know me. Why is it so? We humans have many weaknesses. This is because our powers are not our own. These are given to us by Devata to experience the fruit of our action. That's all they are for. These are the fruit of action which are to be experienced in this life. All these powers are programmed so that they change with time and expire at the end of this life. That is why all of us are helpless at the time of death. So we are not free. We are dependent on the powers given to us on the basis of our past karma. However, we consider these powers as our own. Yeah, everybody thinks these are my power. I know. I own this body. I know I can do this, I can do that. This is delusion or moh. Become mohit with all these powers. Some people have very large ability to do a lot of wonderful things, and they think it's their power. And they get deluded with that thought. They get mohit, they get in moh with that thought. That is my power. This delusion or moh is our foremost weakness. We tend to become attached to the experiences of our senses and the mind and try to repeat the experience because we like it, or avoid it if we don't like it. These cannot be replicated. The reality is these experiences can never be replicated. They are one-time things. This desire to replicate the experience is what I would coin as calm. That's what is kamna. That's calm. This too is our weakness. If the desire remains unfulfilled, the anger surfaces. This too is our weakness. In fact, anger has been described as the flip side of depression, which is there due to unfulfilled desires. Why people get depressed? Because their desires are not fulfilled. They expect something, they didn't get it. So they're depressed. And they get angry. They start to blame somebody or something for their unfulfillment of desire. But this desire to replicate the experience is unreal. It's not going to happen. All these are our weaknesses. Arjun was also overcome by the moh and asked Bhagwan for help in deciding as to what he should do. So Bhagwan explained to Arjun about two paths. One being the path of Gyan, also called the path of sannyas, and the other the path of karma or the karma yoga. Arjun wanted to know which one of the two is best for him. But Bhagwan didn't tell him what is better or what is not. Bhagwan described to him the nature of being the best. What is best? He said, you figure out which is best. I'll only tell you what being best means. And it should be up to you to figure it out. However, Bhagwan said that both paths lead to the same place. However, the first step of sannyas is karma yoga. We read that. It is through karma yoga a person slowly arrives at sannyas. Those who try to skip the karma yoga, for them attaining sannyas is very difficult. It's like climbing a steep hill. Unless one has earned the right and become worthy of sannyas, he is subject to fall. Bhagwan explained this in depth and said that in Karma Yoga, an individual slowly improves himself by acquiring certain qualities. This brings about a subtle transformation within himself, in his mind. On the other hand, one who leaves this sansar to become a sannyasi without becoming worthy of it, his mind can have questions about what he did not do. Others people do what he didn't do. He may wonder as to what it would have been had I didn't done this what other people do. And to indulge in these activities. This creates emptiness in his mind. This becomes a cause for his fall from the grace. And such a person is called patit. The one who has fallen, that's called patit. Sannyas is a very high state of mind. Sannyas is not wearing saffron colored clothes and shaving your head. That's not sannyas. True sannyas is transformation of one's mind from within. So Bhagwan tells Arjun to attain the state of sannyas through the practice of karma yoga, even if it takes many births. He is a karma yogi who sees inaction in action and action in inaction. He is wise among men, a yogi who has performed all actions. Now here the word is all action, performed all actions. That means he has been through the sansar, he has done everything which human people do, and he experienced everything, and he said, now that's enough, I got to do better things. It doesn't suit him what goes on in sansar. So, because his mental state has changed. And how he does it? He experiences all these things which sansar has through gyan and knows it for what it is. He knows the reality of what sansar it is. What is sansar? In the 5th chapter, Bhagavan has emphasized the qualities which one has to have in order to become a sannyasi. These qualities he has to cultivate while he is a householder in grahast, in sansar. These thus become a part of him. As you experience something, you do something, and you experience all kind of different facets of something that you do, it actually becomes part of you. You decide, well, this is what the reality is. This is not real, this is real. And you follow the reality. So that means your mind is transforming, your thought process is changing. And that's because of gyan. You pursue everything in sansar with gyan. So gyan is first and foremost. The first one is to be celibate in the mind. The celibacy of the thought. Celibate in mind means celibacy of the thought, speech, and in action. He trains his mind so that the thoughts are abstained from entering his mind, even while he is asleep. Not speaking unnecessarily, that's the speech, and performing only the correct actions. What is supposed to be done, only that is what he does, not anything else. So find out what correct action is, you have to have gyan. What is right for me at this time, at this moment, at this place to do? And that's what you have to decide. And then you do it. By doing that exercise, it will change person's thought process, because it forces them to think what is right, what should be done, what is not correct. The second one is the ability to endure the eruptions of desire, which is calm, and anger. You know what eruption is? Sometimes just sitting there, everything comes, I must do this. And you get some desire, really, I have to do this. Without even thinking whether it is the right thing to do or not right thing to do, is it the right time for it? And same thing about anger. All of a sudden, a person sitting there, he's thinking about something and he gets angry. These two qualities are required for one to become a sannyasi. First one is to have celibacy of the mind, speech, and action. Second one is to control eruption of desire and anger. Both are your enemies. Now, why is it so? You say, well, Gita says this, so why? Why is it so? The word sannyasi means to become unattached to all that represents sansar. To get unattached to everything that represents sansar. The lack of aforementioned qualities causes ties to the sansar. If you don't practice those two qualities which were talked about before, you'll definitely get tied to the sansar. The lack of these qualities cause the attachment or ties to the sansar. Even some rishis like Vishwamitra were unable to control the eruption of desire and anger. We have examples from ancient times. And they were rishis. In, in the January 216 issue of Time magazine, there is a short article, This Science of Why People Snap in Anger. It says, despite the peaceful lives we live most of the time, the human brain is hardwired for explosive violence. That's what scientists are finding out. The neural circuit of rage reacts faster than the speed of thought. It's pretty fast. They have to. They are designed that way. We evolved these circuits for survival in the wild. Ancient man who lived in the wild has to have that thing. We still need them. Even today we need them. This is a protection. But the modern world, with its wealth of stimuli, is utterly transformed from the environment in which our brains was designed to operate. This mismatch can lead to misfire. You see what he's saying? So the environment has changed. Today's environment is totally different than what it used to be when ancient man lived in the wild. And with the evolution, our brain has been evolved to protect ourselves. And that's what this neuron works that way. Before the thought process comes on, neurons start firing. This snapping is especially disturbing because it can be triggered, in today's world, it can be triggered by seemingly benign acts, such as an offhand comment or gesture. There is no tolerance in people anymore. Somebody says something, people snap right away with their, no, this is not like this. Even little gesture. Somebody may wave at somebody, they may get offended. This is what today is going on. I'm not saying this. These are scientists who are finding these out. There is an upside to this, though when it works as intended, the same neural circuitry that sparks rage can also spark stunning performance in fast-paced sports and selfless act of heroism. Just like we had example, a burning car, a person just jumped right in there and rescued 2 people out of the car because their neurons are doing that. The thought came right away, go ahead, do that. So people can do selfless things too. And these big sports people, fast sport people, they are thinking too while they're playing tennis, hitting the ball, their mind is working. Football players, their mind is really working there. It's not that they're sleeping. So in right environment, it works. It's for the better of the human being. But most of the time, the environment is not there. And so that's why people snap right away. The writer says that understanding the brain's threat detection system, this is what he calls threat detection system, is the first step to exploiting and controlling it. According to Gita, now we take this in light of Gita. According to Gita, this is what needs to be cultivated to become worthy of being a sannyasi. So like we talked about, you control the rage of Kam and Krodh. That's what it is. You train your mind so it acts properly. All humans have desire, anger, greed, delusion, and jealousy. These 6 things are in every human being. There's nobody who doesn't have them. That is what a human being is, which are part of human psyche. And as the writer acknowledges that anger, that is what he was writing about, is needed to survive in the world. These traits are also needed for survival and flourishing in this sansar. However, none of these exist in Ishwar. These 6 things we talked about, they don't exist in Ishwar. It's not there. It's only in human beings. In order to be one with Ishwar, one needs to first control these faults which are there. We all have these faults. Become a sannyasi, and in Gyan become separate from these faults. So this Karma Yoga teaches us slowly, by practicing with Gyan, we get ourselves away from these faults. These faults are there, but we squash them, we suppress them. They don't erupt and they do not then create havoc for us. This can be achieved by practicing the Karma Yoga. Once one reaches to this state, he becomes worthy of a sannyasi. And he will take sannyas from the childhood. Nobody has to tell him what to do. He knows, and he has become, his mind is such that he becomes sannyasi from very childhood. That's the true sannyasi. In today's world, everyone is engaged 24/7 in making money by any way they can, because that has become the motto of life. That's how people judge other people now. No one seems to have time to improve themselves. There is no time anymore for us to think about Atma or Paramatma and how to improve our Atma. And this is pathetic, this is not good. Even the religious and the spiritual leaders are using these venues to amass wealth in today's world. Everything has become a business. Many religious leaders are engaged in immoral acts. The governments give them tax break, and people who are ignorant of the reality bow in front of them. These institutions are deteriorating along with the society, since they walk in step with the society. They are not separate from society. They do what people want them to do. What people say, that's what they do. Otherwise, they will not get any money. This chapter is the continuation of chapter 5, and it consists of practice of the Gyan. It has been called Atma Sanyam Yoga, to control one's mind. Here Atma is mind. Suppress the 6 faults and promote the 2 qualities. That's what this chapter teaches us. Or it has also been called the practice of the self-control to achieve moksha. It has also been called the Abhyas Yoga, since here its practice has been described, and also the Dhyan Yoga, because here what has been described is achieving moksha through concentration on Ishwar, to improve yourself by concentrating on Paramatma. So this chapter has been given these 3 names. Here Bhagavan unveils the secret of using Gyan to be one with him. To depend on the Karam Phal is the sign of weakness, because you are dependent on it. So how can you claim independence? When a person is dependent on something, Somebody is dependent on every monthly check coming in. Okay? How they can say they are independent? They are dependent. They are not free. They cannot never be free. The main thrust of this chapter is that once you are armed with the Gyan, with its powers, you need to train your mind so that it can break away from the sansar. That's what it's supposed to do. That's what Karma Yoga does. Now we'll see what Bhagavan is telling Arjuna. So, Shri Bhagavan Uvach.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritah Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyaha.
It is very important to understand this shlok. If you don't understand this shlok, then cannot go further. So, Bhagavan tells Arjuna as to who is a sannyasi and a yogi. Remember, Arjuna wanted to become a sannyasi. Bhagavan did not say you should not be sannyasi. You're not worthy of it. Yogi means karma yogi. Arjuna wanted this and not get involved in karma because he understood that karma is the cause of bondage. Bhagavan says that one who performed his karyam karma, which is called bounded duty, dutiful karma, without depending on the fruit of action, anashrita karma phalam. He is a sannyasi or sankhya yogi and a yogi or karma yogi. And not who has renounced agni, niragni, nor he who is without action, chakriya. So, there are some words which we need to understand here. And to do this, we'll need to refresh our understanding of Hindu culture. In Brahman, Kshatri and Vaishya, when a young man comes of age, he goes through a ritual called Yagyopavit. He is then called Dvij or born again. See, here also you have born again, don't you? So Hindu Dharma has born again. Everybody is born again who has Yagyopavit. After this ceremony, the young man becomes eligible for getting married. These days, people go through Yagyopavit the day before their wedding because now they got the passport to get married. So, in each household, Hindus used to maintain a burning fire, constantly burning fire. It is from this fire the young man used to perform yagna with Gayatri month. Using Gayatri month, they use this fire to perform the yagna. This fire was started in each household and people maintained it for their entire life. It was used in all ceremonies in the family. Like even in the evening time, lighting up the lamps, they used this fire. This fire was purified with the Gayatri month. And once the person has Yagyopavit, he maintains that fire for the rest of his life. It was used in all ceremonies in the family and daily worship because Hindus are supposed to do certain number of yagna every day. This fire was also used for cremation of the dead body. The son takes that fire to the Shmashan Bhumi, and from that he lights up the funeral pyre. This fire is called Ahat Agni, and the keeper of this fire is called Agnihotra. Now we have a caste called Agnihotri. It has nothing to do with it. This fire is considered to be a sacred fire since it has been sanctified with the Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra, by the way, is the mantra of the Surya, Sun Devata. This does not end here. The Gayatri mantra, the mantra for the Surya Devata, which is one of the three main devatas of place called Swarga, or the heaven. The Vedas contain mantras to go to Swarga. That's all they go. And the fire was used to perform yajna so that to that end. So in Rig Veda, the first mantra is Agni Mile Purohitam. This fire is the Purohit of the person who is doing the yajna. And Purohit means Purohitam, the one who looks after our interest ahead of time. That's Purohit. So fire was used to do the yajna, to take that yajna, that karma, to Swarga. And from there, that's what people used to do, to go to Swarga, do 100 yajna. Then they can go to Swarga. Not today like people, they're going to heaven or they're going to go to hell. That's not the case. So, this is what the importance of this whole thing was. So, the one who becomes a sannyasi by giving up the Agni, Ahat Agni, he becomes Niragnir. Bhagavan Krishna says in this slok, Niragni. And does not use the Gayatri mantra. He doesn't need to use Gayatri mantra. He has no use for the sacred fire or the Gayatri mantra because he becomes sannyasi now. This sacred fire and Gayatri mantra is only for sansaric karma. He also becomes akriya, meaning he doesn't know kriya. Now what is this kriya means? It includes fasting. People have vrat. And other ritualistic worships. That's what kriya is. Devta rituals. The different vrat or the days of fasting are many. In Hindu Dharam, they made one for every day. These are, for example, Ekadashi, Purnamasi, Pradosh, you name it. They have all kind of vrat. Although sannyasi does not do these two actions, he gives up the fire, Agni and Kriya. So he doesn't do any of these. However, by not doing these, one does not become a sannyasi. You follow? Person says, I'm not going to do the fire thing and I'm not going to have any kriya, I am sannyasi now. No, it doesn't work that way. A sannyasi doesn't do these things. And sannyasi is the one we just learned that he has cultivated these two qualities in him and he separated himself from. Once he separated from the sansar, he does not need to do any of this thing. This is the key. By merely copying a true sannyasi, one does not become a sannyasi. So who is a sannyasi? Bhagavan says, Karyam karma karoti. One who performs the karya karma or the karma worthy of performing. worthy of performing for what? For Atmonnati, for uplifting the Atma. The karma for upliftment of the Atma. Now, how he performed these karma? Bhagavan says, Anashrita karma phalam. You cannot perform these karma, this karma, which is karya karma, which means the uplifting your Atma or purifying your Atma by taking ashraya or taking refuge in the karma phal. Because the moment you take refuge in karma phal, you are not free to do anything. You are in bondage. So, karya karma karotiya anashrita karma phalam. Whatever karma phal we got, don't take refuge, don't take its support. There is danger there. Now, what is the karma phal? We'll come to that sometime later. One who does not resort to the fruit of action, does not depend on it. It is important to know what this means. In old days, everyone worked for each other. People used to live in villages, even in the Western countries too. That's how the name weaver came about. The people who used to weave clothes. Okay, smith. They used to blacksmith and all that sort of stuff. So people used to live in small communities and they worked for each other. The farmer will grow the food and he'll give it to everybody. If somebody needed some prayers, the priest will do the prayers. So they all work for each other. They are all dependent on each other. India used to be the same way. So people got paid in kind. So the entire community lived peacefully because everybody depended on everybody else. From the time of arrival of Muslims till the time of British, Indians became dependent on karma phal. That's when it started. A price was set for all goods and services, and for their work, everyone expected to be paid in currency. That was the start of the fall of the whole civilization. They used to do it. They used it to buy goods and services. So everyone became totally dependent on the karma phal. Everybody in today's world here, everybody wants something for the government. What is that? Dependence. No, they are not independent. They may say we are free, but not free. And the karma phal, which was money, currency. Thus a person has right for action worthy of performing, which is karya karma, only in leaving the dependence on the fruit of action. Unless you can live without the fruit of action, you are not qualified. You cannot perform karya karma. That's what it tells me. But dependence on the fruit of action, which is money, has been causing strife for people. It creates rift among family members. When one performed an action, they got the fruit of their actions. Some, like businessmen and other people, they made large sums of money. They set the price. This is what price is for my services. And they made a lot of money. He said, this is mine. You can't have it. This is my money. He would not want to share it even with the relatives, his own children or wife or anybody, because it is his money. He has total control of it. It is the fruit of his action. I worked so hard, so I got this money. The best example I can give for this is Mahabharata. Exactly what happened in Mahabharata. They did not want to even share 5 small villages with their brothers. And this goes on every day, even today. in every family, everywhere it goes on. They fight for the property and the money and this. It's just pathetic. Because people are so weak, they are so dependent, they don't know any better. If they are strong within, they don't need anything. So the person was supposed to share with others, but not doing this causes disagreement and fights. People start litigating, causing the division of money and the property. In India, I have seen there is a family house and there are 3 brothers. They will divide the whole small house into 3 parts. They can't, this is my part, I'm going to have it. Whether it's worthless for each one of them. It doesn't mean anything, it's just a small piece of land, piece of house. They get, this room is your room, that room comes in my property, and they fight. Which is, if you think about it, it's pathetic, it's so bad. I mean, there's no life. All this is due to taking refuge in the fruit of action and saying that it is mine. If it was yours, you would take along with you when you die. Bhagavan has said that your right is to work only and never in the fruit thereof. Be not instrumental in making your action bear fruit. You don't do anything because you want to get something. Nor let your attachment to be in inaction. This he said in chapter 2, Shlok 47. But now by claiming the fruit of action, one causes big problems, not just for himself, but for everybody else. Gita teaches tyag, or to divest, and not this selfishness. Gita teaches not to become dependent on fruit of action. Now there is one more point here. It is that the fruit of action is there for a given time. Then it goes away. And if one thinks that it is theirs, they incur a fault which is called attachment. Asakti. That's what asakti is. And face disappointment when it is not there. People lose money every day, don't they? You never hear from them that they lost money. Everybody tells they made a lot of money. See? But when they lose it, look at their faces. Man, their long face, they're so pathetic looking. You know. I lost money. Oh gosh. That's the end of world for them. Because they dependent on it. They take ashray in karampal. Money is nothing. It comes and goes. That's why it's called currency. Like current, it flows. It will not. You cannot hold it in one place. If you hold it, it will destroy you. So, in this shlok, the message is similar to that which was in chapter 2, shlok 47. In that, when one does not stake his claim on the fruit of the action, one will do the right action, which will not result in bondage. In the next shlok, Bhagavan continues to explain the similarity between sannyasi and the karma yoga. The sannyas and the karma yoga.
Yam sannyāsamiti prāhuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaścana.
Now here Bhagavan says, he makes it clear, very clear, that what is called sannyas. Now as the karma yoga sannyas is also knows sannyas as karma yoga. Because the difference between the two is minuscule, very little. A sannyasi leaves completely and at once. He leaves sansar completely and at once. While the karma yogi separates himself continuously, constantly, in a gradual manner to get away from sansar. Therefore, what is called sannyas, know that as karma yoga, Bhagavan tells Arjuna. Bhagavan says, Pandava, hey Arjun, yam sannyasam iti prahur, that what is called sannyas, tam vid yogam, that you know as yoga. Why? He sannyast sankalpo, because without renouncing the sankalp or the thought of sansar, sankalp is thought about sansar, desire for sansar. You do sankalp, I want to do this. So you go and do sankalp. You resolve to do this. That's what sankalp is. Kaschan yogi na bhavati. No one. Kaschan means nobody. Yogi na bhavati. Never becomes a yogi. Bhagavan has tried to convince us humans in many ways that the correct path for us is that of karma yoga. This will take us to sannyas eventually, once we purify our mind with our actions. So do your allotted karma, the niyat karma, which is being told in chapter 3, shlok 8, or the karyam karma, whatever is the fruit of such action, offer it to Paramatma. Bhagavan has said it repeatedly in Gita. Give it to me, offer it to me. I will take care of you. Ananyaschint yantomam ye jana paripaste tesham nitya abhiktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I will take care of your yoga kshemam. You don't need to worry about it. That's what we worry about, don't we? Every day. What will happen tomorrow when I get old? What's going to happen to me? And we make all kind of plans. People in this world make all kind of plans. Very few work, if at all. People come to rob you. That's what they do. Money is not going to solve the problem. It is goodwill that you cultivate among people. People will help you. People help people, not money. This is the practice of karma yoga. The primary emphasis is not to desire for and thus get attached to the sansar. Because attached to the sansar, you will not attain moksha. It is guaranteed. Because they are two diametrically opposite poles. Getting attached to and pursuing the sansar is a losing battle. It eventually leads to nitya narak or eternal hell. Now Bhagavan describes the two phases of karma yogi. Karma yogi or jnani and the sannyasi. Now we will take this up next time. So think about this, what we talked today, digest it and get ready for the next part. Jai Shri Krishna.